Ramirez, and this is my speech. I had a dream. I had a dream. We didn't dream anymore, nor consult God or the heavens when we consider one's life. We relied solely on our phone's interpretation of reality and the questions that came with it. One's destiny was only highlighted through self-centered motivations and self-centered acclamations. God and His purpose wasn't a focal point of anyone's beginning, and we were lost to the quickness of answers as we Googled them. To rely, try, or verify was only guaranteed through the internet. Matter of fact, if it wasn't on the internet, then it couldn't be true. The truth for self was only believed through the screen, and to hear it, read it, or speak it became a thing of the past. We made fun of each other and called each other crazy simply for self-interpretation and imagination. You weren't heard unless your facts coincided with facts provided by the internet, and the truth about speaking the truth was no more. I had a dream. There was no familia structure. I had no tias, tios, primos, nor extended mijos. If you weren't immediate familia, then you were easily forgotten or ignored. All anyone cared about was the easiness in their lives, and you couldn't just show up to each other's house without permission, or you were greeted with, "What are you doing here? Why are you here?" So many doors weren't answered and slammed in each other's face. All anyone could do was cry and leave as a stranger. Trouble became so expensive, we left each other drowning in time and debt, and just to get a collect call answer from jail was like pulling teeth, and the guilt over the expensiveness was equally hurtful. My dream was fastly becoming my worst nightmare, and the truth about love and familia was no more. I had a dream. Everyone was porno stars, changing subtle features on themselves and angles of the camera in order to lie, cheat on, and then smile in each other's face. Incognito and encoded was the new appearance, but nothing was hidden nor erased. Sex was no longer associated with love. It was more of a recreational activity or an exercise. And people kept quiet in order to pay whoever back for whatever, or simply because they vowed to take it to the grave. uh, some law enforcement took advantage in order to profit and used their position to influence participation mostly from women and men who were larger than average. Those who found out were silenced with lengthy prison sentences and dirt naps. And this sad reality slowly changed the truth about love and marriage. I had a dream. Our kids were smarter than us and knew the truth about their parents because they could work this technology better. They were pissed and confused because they had love but didn't know who to give it to, how to show it, and ultimately how to receive it. Although the blame rested on both the shoulders of the parents, they mostly took it out on their mothers. And my reasoning couldn't explain this, but my heart told me it was a maternal issue. But the more we used this technology as a babysitting mechanism, the more we lost our children, which changed the dynamics of parent and child, driving a wedge leading our kids to believe they didn't need their parents in order to raise themselves. In turn, giving this technology the keys to teach our kids emotion, reason, and reaction. Us as parents weren't even needed and eventually were casted out, locked up, medicated, and killed for almost no reason. The days of believing that the children are our future became the days of believing that the children are the only future, and the truth about love and familia was no more. I had a dream. People were pretending as if they were dying in the street simply because they had lost their phone. Everyone watched and avoided thinking it was some sort of disease. All anyone did was call the cops. The average person couldn't operate without this technology, and if they couldn't find it, some actually died believing they couldn't live without it. Eventually, stealing someone's phone became crimes of attempted murder and the actual murder. The know-how in life was at the limits of our phone, and the simple truth of getting your hands dirty was now the imprint of your fingerprint to identify your intelligence, financial, and life's worth. The speed of a swipe was now the measurement, and the truth about life itself was no more. I had a dream. Everyone was rigid like robots, standing in lines, texting and posting. We rarely looked up except to take occasional selfie or push a button we needed to. Staring at the stars became such a chore, they became disassociated with the heavens and preaching of them was non-existent. Social media was the only social thing, and simple conversation was less and less verbal. As the years climbed into this technology, we eventually needed the ID number of the other person just to communicate, which people tattooed them on themselves in order to not have to repeat themselves. Speaking was less and less, and every place was like a waiting room or a library. Being loud, preaching, or overly excited was considered an outburst, and threats of disorderly conduct kept these obnoxious tantrums in line. Our lives routine themselves naturally through this technology without subconsciously realizing that there was no robots in the future. We were the robots, and the truth about life itself was no more. I had a dream, which became my living nightmare. I was avoided, laughed at, hated, and unrelated. I was at the graveside of my wife with a pistol to my head, crying, lonely, confused, followed, and hollowed because love couldn't find me. They tried to kill me and charged me with frivolous crimes and said that I was coming high, needy, and crazy. Because everyone knew I saw the truth, and because it was true. I begged God to relieve me of this burden and threatened to kill myself because it seemed like the only avenue of peace. I had no one, and people couldn't wait to leave me in jail because I became such a burden to help out or bail out. I begged God over and over and over and over, and this is how I did it. I have a prayer for God to please hear me and save me by his wings so I am untouched because nothing else can save me in this world of hell. For the world and my gente to listen, because then they know I speak the truth, to send all his angels to protect me in this dark hour of revelation, and to send all the money I'm going to need to create the app or program that'll keep us in touch with remembering the truth. To remember how it feels to hear it, actually see it, and eventually be it in its light, so I can correct this absolute shame that's ultimately going to change humanity. Amen.